And welcome to I think round 6 of pool play we're up to in the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships for 2018, coming to you live on the Ultimate Frisbee Australia YouTube channel from Marty Bush Reserve in Sebastopol, just outside Ballarat. Simon Tolbert here with Claire Hussey.
Hey Simon, looking forward to this game between H.I.V.E and Sublime. Sublime will be looking to contend for that third spot to make the pre-semis later in the day. Sublime have a few wins under their belts, but H.I.V.E only have the one, so it should be a good matchup.
Yeah, it should be a great matchup. Sublime just coming off a win over Vanguard mere minutes ago. They've had to back it up very quickly. Sublime playing in the black jerseys, as you can see on the screen now. And H.I.V.E will be in the white and yellow. Very strong right to left breeze in. That's definitely going to affect how teams treat their offense here. So the first pull comes in. Catch by Hodson to Mortimer. Through the middle to Barr. And Mortimer takes the first long shot of the game. Looking for Hodson, but looking for Shellard, but Ryan Kelly getting two hands to that to knock it down. Kyle O with the restart here. Nice outside break to Jessup. Jessup lines up, looking for Vernon. And Vernon, he sized up the layout. You could see him slowing up, thinking, oh, do I go for it?
Yeah, probably a good decision. I don't think he would have actually made that one, but it's looking a little bit like he needs to... He's just come off a game, but maybe he didn't play the last couple of points, looking a little bit stiff there.
So Adam Mortimer to bring the disc for H.I.V.E, 64 from goal. Right on the sideline too. He's going to have to throw to the middle of the field. He does to Ringland. And to Barr. Barr looking for a deep shot, but not many cutters ahead of her, so that's to go back to Mortimer. And a pick call there, and H.I.V.E just running a vertical stack through the middle of the field.
A bit worried how far away the stack is right now. I think they need to shuffle a little closer, make it easier for those throws, especially with this wind coming at their faces.
Yeah, very much throwing into the wind here. He's not going to really trouble Mortimer, puts it up, but that's going to fall short for Kelly again. That's 2 blocks for Kelly ahead of Shellard.
Yeah, in exactly the same spot. He's read both of those really well. I think the wind is pushing against Mortimer's throws a little.
Sublime call an audible and move to a horizontal stack. Vernon puts the big backhand out. Shellard with a huge layout bid ahead of Kelly.
That was hot.
So he gets one back on him. Nice little battle, that one. Of course, so far in this tournament, Shellard's managed to rack up 5 defensive blocks, and there's another one there. Kelly, good defensive unit himself. He's been on the end of 6 goals so far this tournament. Mortimer brings it in, 64 from goal right at the corner. Looks long, but decides to play conservative instead. Back to DeHoog. DeHoog, not much happening for her. She's going to have to look for a reset. Hodson covered by Vernon, goes upfield and straight into the waiting hands of Kelly. And that'll give Sublime the first real shot, about 3 metres from goal. Kyle O to bring up the disc, 4 cutters in the stack. Nice inside break, just to short one there to Michael Vernon for the first goal.
So they've done that a few times. He knew exactly where he wanted to pop that, just needed a little nod and slotted that over like posting a letter.
The advantage for a short throw like that in the end zone is there's not quite enough time for defence to react to the disc being in the air. And Kyle O with his 13th assist for the tournament.
Racking them up.
Yeah. See a linchpin handler for their offence. You'll see him collecting most stop discs. But first blood goes to Sublime. Offence going downwind though, so easiest way to score.
Providing it doesn't pick up too much. Sometimes it can really squash the disc down and make all the throwers overshoot their cutters. But yeah, I think it's just a nice pace at the moment, helping the offence in that direction.
So 1-0 the score, just under 5 minutes gone on the clock.
Sublime just remembering to get their 7th player on the line.
Makes defence a lot easier. Hugh Osborne to pull. having to go upwind. He'll keep it low or lowish. That's going to sit for a while. Give the defence time to get there, and that's Miriam Downey to fill the pull for Hive. No one on her, so no stall count, no defensive pressure at all. I think Sublime have put an extra defender back, but they're going to come to her now. That's Kirsten Chick coming now. Big shot going up, straight over the top into the lap of Abby Dawson. Much more efficient offense there from Hive.
It was. I was actually surprised that that put went, because Dawson went really, really early and nearly pulled out of that option, because she'd made it to the end zone with quite a high stall count, but Throw decided to still go for it, and it paid off, which she'll be pleased with.
Yeah, Matthew Svardos was there with the throw, and he was throwing it right on the sideline and put the disc straight into that far side of the field. Difficult throw to pull off accurately.
Yeah, helped out with the wind. He put a bit of outside edge up to make it pinpoint and hit Dawson in the stomach.
We'll see it again there. We'll see that throw from Svardos on the sideline. Got out nice and quick early in the stall count. And just out of reach there, the Sublime defence.
Yeah, I think the Sublime defence probably expected her to bail out of that at some point, but needs to tighten up a little.
It's the early makings of a shootout, Huss. It's just going to be all long shots downwind, heading to the left of screen.
Shootout on the Goldfields.
Over the pool, Sublime spreading out to a horizontal stack. Kylo will field the disc. First pass inboard to Williams. Looks like a zone set. You can hear the sideline canning, so you'll assume they'll transition to match at some point. Sublime content just to work back and forth across the field. Not much action happening deep of the stack. There are two wings playing about maybe 30 metres ahead of the disc at the moment, just outside the end zone. Chick. Looking for a gap through the middle. Can't see one though, but so it continues to the near side to Botche. Barrels it down the sideline. Very well done by Gabby O'Connor to keep it in bounds there. Back inboard to Jessup. Jessup wanting to go back to the centre. Sublime very close now, about 15 from goal. Oh, time to direct a bit of traffic. A nice easy throw. He's just put too much, just over the head of Chick. I think he just put, just softened that throw a bit too much, and the wind just carried it over Chick's head there.
Yeah, we need to see more decisive throws, I think, in this wind. And yeah, Kirsten Chick thought it was going to drop sooner, attacked it, and it immediately sailed over her head and made it too difficult to catch.
It's a conversion opportunity. Mortimer just pops it over the head to DeHoog, who goes wide out to Barr. Continues to the far sideline to Ringland. But Kyle, grabs another disc, grabs another D. He's racking up just as many blocks as assists this weekend. Jessup now to Woods. Trying to fake out her marker, but not many cutters coming, so Cog makes an attacking cut from behind. Has it right on the line. Head sideways to Chick. Chick with more angles of attack now. More options happening for her. Goes out wide to Williams. And Williams with a nice easy backhand to Botche for Sublime's second goal.
Yeah, it's good work from Sublime. They looked like they were trying to work the up the line goal there over and over, but then just kept their heads and brought the disc back across the width of the field and went the other way. Yeah,
notice that everyone in the stack waiting in the end zone was pretty static when Kyle O had the disc on that far side. Just thinking, too difficult to cut to do properly, so we're not even going to bother. But as soon as the disc came centre to Chick and then to Williams, then there was much more activity. Many more angles of attack from there.
Yeah, and it's striking that balance between keeping your stack still, keeping some space for somebody to attack, and actually providing those options.
So 2-1 to Sublime. Very back and forth at the moment, just both teams just scoring their offensive points. think breaks are going to be very few and far between in this game, so if you can get an early one just to put that scoreboard pressure on the opposition.
Yeah, get your nose out in front and cruise the way to the finish line. That's the dream in a game where you're not a head and shoulders above the other team.
Nice pull-up win. We'll start about 45 from goal. Mortimer in short to Dawson there, but I think she was too busy worried about what she's going to do with it when she caught it. Young looking back to Cotter. Cotter's working in very close space. Finds Bowden through the middle. A few options happening deep for him, but he's about 25 out from goal. Wanting everyone to come towards him, has to just throw high and long behind the stall count, and great grab there by Dodson.
Yeah, his offensive stack was way too deep for him to make anything of that.
No one was coming.
Giving him a really hard job.
Yeah, no one was coming towards him, so he just had to send a speculative throw in the end, and Hodgson cleaned it up. He'll restart the offense. And Joyce just sends it deep, looking for Svardos there, but yeah, just put too wide for him. I think if he wanted to shoot down the centre of the field, he might have had a chance to it, but as soon as it went up, the wind just carried it away. Went way too fast for him to catch up.
Certainly put it into space, that's for sure.
Yeah. Because they've just been doing that for field position.
Quite possibly. The wind is definitely a little stronger than it was earlier this morning, but it's not an impossible wind, so could be a tactical decision.
Sublime with the 64 from goal now. With Bowden again, not much to work with, so it goes back to Young. Now to Cotter. Not many options happening for him, so that's Leone coming in from the wing. Again, everyone very close to her. McMorrin. Now to Bowden. The cuts are coming, but they're all happening at once. Doesn't seem to be any uniformity to it. Francois. Back to Cotter. Taking his time, just having a long look upfield. Oh, yeah, Francois there as the easy reset. Francois hitting a wide to Leone. Cotter's up the line, beating his defender, but went for the old two-handed crab catch. Fumbled out of his hands. Mortar's going to restart quick. He wants someone going deep, but as Dawson going, he puts the big hammer up looking downfield. McMorrin's there. Dawson got two hands to it, but had two defenders, one in front, one behind.
Yeah, that was right on the money, but side of the disc.
Interesting that Mortimer there went for a hammer. He's completely unguarded.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the backhand sometimes.
Might just be the old camera fever. He knows he's on show. I'm hoping that Sublime are going to not let their stack drift too far deep this time. I think they're really struggling to get those shots off because of it.
Good low release there by Bowden finding Young. Back to Bowden, unguarded at the moment, so puts the forehand up, looking for the only, but he only releasing low, putting it high into the wind. Almost always disaster. And that's drifted out of bounds, so H.I.V.E will get another go. They're about 35 from goal. Adam Mortimer to bring it in from the sideline. Just directing a bit of traffic as he walks to the disc. Doing his best not to delay the game. Dawson, easy undercut. Goes to the big sweeping wide backhand to the far side of the field. Hodgson, oh.
Well, that's probably the third time H.I.V.E have had the disc in the end zone and not managed to clasp their hands around.
Not sure if Hodgson thought he was actually going to get a hand to that. He was sort of in that grey area of, do I leave my feet, do I stay on my feet? And I think he just couldn't clasp his hand around and control it. So Francois to bring the disc in. The H.I.V.E defenders all playing towards the disc. So the throw's going to have to come over the top. or go wide. Yep, there it goes. Straight into the hands of Smartos. We just lets it hit the ground. Could have had an opportunity to quickly restart the offense, but would rather give his team the opportunity to set up their stack. So Mortimer to bring the disc in on the near side, 20 from goal. First option from Ollie Spelderwind, and comfortably beats Brenton McMorrin up the line for a nice comfortable goal.
Yeah, the first time the disc has come in very flat to the end zone, making a guaranteed catch for H.I.V.E.
So they score 2-1 in the H.I.V.E.'s favour.
Now Sublime would be more used to warmer temperatures, hailing from Perth. H.I.V.E. coming from Canberra, but I was just chatting to them before, and that H.I.V.E. are struggling with the temperature. They've said, despite being quite experienced, I think they didn't expect to have similar temperatures here, so they've been taken a bit off guard, and maybe should have packed a couple of underlayers.
Yep. Ballarat a bit higher up than sea level, so always distinctly colder temperatures than game still on serve, as we call it. Still just all the favour with the offence. No one's got a defensive conversion yet. Garbutt with the pull. Tough throwing it into the wind, and it's going to roll back towards. So this is going to be a good field position for Sublime to set up from. Jackson Botche just taking his time to walk up. And they're going to play from about 30 metres out from goal in centre field. H.I.V.E., it looks like it's not, it's a zone. One at the disc, three behind, and then three playing back deep. But it's all playing very close to an offensive player. Botche and Chick just working back and forth just to get the defence on the move, change the angle of attack. Chick to Williams. Playing very conservatively, the throwers, going downwind. Their wings are sitting very deep at the moment, both about 30 to 35 metres away from the disc.
They've only really got options to move forward through the handlers at the moment, and they're not even looking to do that.
Jessup now. Botche right on the sideline. Will have to come back towards the camera. Yeah, his cutters are just too deep at the disc at the moment for a clean option through the defence. Check. Over the top to Williams. There we go. Nice little cheeky one. Opens up the attack, but so I'm just taking the time. About 5 metres from goal now. Botche. Nice little bit of contact there, but Botche just okay to play through it. Chick right on the doorstep now and finally finds that free wing. Ryan Kelly with the goal there.
Yeah, Sublime not even worrying about their deep offensive players. They just work that whole point up through the handlers. Swing, swing, swing. A little pop over the top.
Yeah.
And then swing, swing, swing for the goal.
Yeah, the wings they were doing just enough just to keep the deep defenders busy. Not necessarily working hard, just keeping on their toes, shuffling back and forth, and then just waiting for the opportunity to strike. Just as this came across there, we see the swing there from Jessup, and it just gave Chick fairly wide angle of attack. The defender had two options to cover, one to his left, one to his right. Just had to put pressure on something. And Chick, just all she had to do was just make him go one way, throw the other.
Yeah, they all looked very relaxed in that setup. Imagine they play a lot of zone over in Perth when the Fremantle doctor comes in. They practice sessions, so if H.I.V.E. put another zone on, it will definitely slow Sublime down because they're not looking for the quick score, but they look quite happy to just work it back and forth all day.
Sublime look to be running very much an offensive line and a defensive line. H.I.V.E. just a touch more flexibility between theirs. Seems they've got a core of players that will take offensive points, but a few that will just are comfortable playing both ways. And get another short pull. The wind's really picked up now. Deadman to Mortimer. Finds space through the middle for Dawson. I feel like a lot of offensive attacks going to come through Dawson. Just her work rate up and down the field. There we go. Mortimer shoots long, looking for. That's a foul call.
Yeah, Francois getting close on that bid, and Shallard feeling like he was pushed. Maybe we can get some insight from the game advisors if they're mic'd up. Unfortunately, they're not, but
Anson Chun over there just to offer a perspective on what happened. The players are not obligated to follow his suggestion or instruction. He's just there as an impartial viewer of the play. What do you think, Huss?
at the time it happened, I didn't think there was much in it, but it really, it's not up to me up here. It's really whatever the players feel and their perspective on things.
Feels like it's going to be, contested. It's probably the right outcome. The players couldn't quite agree on the outcome. It makes sense just to call contested, which just means the player will just reset to the previous throw. So we'll go back to Mortimer.
Yeah, and the game advisor is really helping to keep those discussions down to time. They can go on a little bit sometimes in games of ultimate, but it's really useful having the game advisors just to keep everything on track.
Mortimer restarts this time, finds Shallard on the under to Joyce. Mortimer's got both sides to shoot at there, but now the mark closes in. Deadman. Joyce on her own. It goes inside to Dawson, but Dawson at full stretch, can't reel it in, so Francois will pick up and start for Sublime. Heads wide to Osborne. Osborne and Spilderwind got a bit to happen, but Spilderwind stays underneath it, gets it, shoots straight at the end zone the one time, and this time finds Shallard. Spelderwind did well there. It looks like it was the way the throw was tracking. It was going to drift over both heads, but Osborne just kept going and was caught unawares. And
yeah, he did well to read that disc and make a really decisive counter attack, getting the quick score.
Nice low release of that forehand too from Spelderwind. If we see here, he's got the catch. He releases from below his hips, which just means it's going to fly a lot flatter.
Yeah, releasing it from low, but launching it fairly high because with the wind behind him, it would need a little bit of air to travel all the way.
Yeah, throwing with the wind has a tendency to push the disc down a bit.
It does, yeah.
Conversely, throwing it upwind can push it up. So it's really about changing. You've got to think about your release point, the angle of release, both on two axes, whether you aim up or across or down.
Yeah, and sometimes teams, go with the upwind-downwind lines rather than offense-defense lines or any other sort of subbing group. Some players just have a knack for throwing with or against the wind. This pull not making it just to halfway and rolling out the side.
Yeah, with all goals so far have been scored to the left of screen, so haven't seen much offense work its way up to the end zone at the right.
No, not since the wind really picked up.
And again, I've got the zone set up. The Sublime wings are set up at the front of the end zone, so about 45 to 50 metres away from the disc. So there's a lot of space in the middle of the field here. But again, there's going to work among the handlers until they probably get to about 20 from goal before we see any action from those wings. Bocce wants to go across field to Chick, but not confident he can get a clean throw off with the wind, so he just goes to now he heads over to Chick. Chick being a great anchor for this offense, just always sitting back behind the disc just for an easy reset. Nice cheeky little through disc there from Bocce. Vernon now back to Bocce. And there's been a call.
Missed that, but I think it was a turnover.
Yeah, not sure. They're not near the sideline.
No, maybe it touched the ground.
Yeah, maybe Vernon didn't quite have his hand underneath it. Big crossfield throw going out to Spardos. Spardos to Ringland. Ringland to Garbett, but where's a bit of contact, plays through it. And just shoots it into, and it's gone over the head of Ringland with Spardos is the back there. Sorry, not Ringland, to Hoog there was fine. Found herself wide open on that near sideline. See throw, I think he just got a bit excited, just put a bit too much on the throw.
Yeah, and these throws can really pop up at the last second with a bit of swirly wind. And that throw being made just after Kyle O had really made its presence known to Garbett.
So half with the zone again, really. They're not playing. They've got two playing close into the disc with another 3 or 4 just sitting off to stop those this going through the middle. Oh, throws caution to the wind, sends it deep to a 2-on-1. To Vernon's advantage. Vernon's got a huge height advantage here, but drifts over his head. I think he just sort of came in under it, thinking I've got to worry about this defender.
Yeah,
sort
I think he was pulled in by the defender there and lost track of the disc.
Nick Hodson there with a low worm burner. Never went about more than 6 inches off the ground. And Sublime have a chance about 22 from goal now. Oh, quickly moves it to Bocce, but just rushes that throw a bit. Miriam Downey to restart for H.I.V.E. Finds Hodson. Hodson again, plenty of numbers under a few, but Svardos comes in. Good tidy catch there, avoiding contact with everyone. Swings it out to Hodson. Hodson's got Downey on her own, but cut off by Bocce. Bocce waits for his teammates to sort themselves out. Goes to O. O looking at the end zone. He's wants a second crack at that long shot. Bocce wants to go overhead as well there. Chick will just be the one to keep it safe out of these three, I think. Nice little dish off to Gabby O'Connor there, back to Bocce. He's got Jessup over the top and lands it right in her lap. What a throw. Jessup 5 minutes from goal, but holds it up. To Chick out to O. Really working to change the angle of attack, Chick. Oh, Bocce wanting to gain yards there, but Svardos all over it.
Yeah, lovely read. Chose his moment. Pounced.
That wind's starting to really howl now.
Yeah, and H.I.V.E have popped their stack quite far away.
All the Sublime players playing underneath, but Garbett finds space. Looking towards the middle of the field, wants to get off that sideline, and I think Bocce might have got a bit of a hand on that, but forces the incompletion. O to quickly restart. Chick swings it out to Jessup. Jessup looks up the line, but no one's there. Chick pops it over the top to O. Taking his time, using up as much of the stall count as he can. They're comfortable losing a few metres here, just to change the angle of attack. Bocce. Jeff's on for a big swing there, but he chooses Chick through the middle instead. The wing's not doing much other than just keeping the deep defenders busy, drawing them away from the front of the end zone. Big swing across to Jessup. Oh, inches inside the sideline. Back to the middle. I feel like an over-the-top shot's going to come shortly. Botch up, Bocce.
Was that an instruction for Bocce to botch up? Sounded like one. Don't think he's going to though.
Could have been prophetic, who knows. Very patient here from H.I.V.E. They're not really biting on many short throws, because if they do bite on it and miss the opportunity, this is going to open up a gap. And Chick finds space there. We're at 7 metres out from goal now. they're starting to close in around the disc now, just taking away everything through the middle. And bit of a speculative throw there by Boccia. I think that might have been a high stall count. Svardos comes down with it. Ivanovic.
Ringland strike deep.
Yep. Ringland's all on her own. No teammates close by, so O'Connor's just going to put it on a stall count. She goes wide to Svardos. He calls a timeout. A few groans from the sideline. Why?
Yeah, they had the numbers down there, but he's looking very maybe injured or just exhausted.
Just exhausted, I think. This has been a long point, and he has worked very, very hard playing in close around the disc. So this timeout, it's going to be a chance for H.I.V.E to set up a play to get that crucial upwind conversion. But it's also going to be a chance for Sublime to take a breather and reset and think about what they're doing. Bit of a theme in the commentary yesterday, Huss was railing against the decision to take on-field midpoint timeouts.
Yeah, I did take note of that. And the game just before this one on the live stream, Pompey Magnus versus Crank. Crank took a couple of timeouts, maybe 10 metres from the end zone line, and was successful in converting. So it could be a change of stats on its way at this tournament.
I'm willing to bet that Tim Booth called most of them.
He might have got one, but I think Fulford was up for rest. He's only playing one tournament a year these days, so he wants to make the most of it.
So what do you think H.I.V.E will set up with here?
I think H.I.V.E will go with a standard vertical stack and will choose an isolation. I think they'll have someone coming out, and then if that doesn't come off, they might go for a handler up the line type option.
Yep.
That's always a favourite from this position. It's hard to mark.
Yeah, they're keeping 3 handlers out of the end zone and 4 in, so of course, and defense will then set around them before the disc comes into play. They're still just under 20 metres from goal, and the stack is right in the end zone. So, if this is going to be a one-pass play, it's going to have to be a belter of a throw.
Yeah, I'm questioning their decision in exactly where to set the stack up, but maybe it will come from the handler's movement.
Yep. Svardos heads backwards to Hodson. And Svardos finds space. Boccia cleans it up.
It was a nice look, but read too well by Sublime.
And Vernon both streaking deep. Vernon finds space on the wing. Inside to Boccia. Has he got a deep throw? Cutter? No. And Dodson is sitting well back, knowing that Sublime love these long throws. Chick to Jessup. Jessup just holds it up. I've gone to a match defense now. Finds space, gets it up over the top, and Svardos thinks about his 4th block at this point. He is just the gatekeeper of that end zone. Nothing's getting past him.
Yeah, that was amazing. And his little lie down's paying off.
Downey to start with the disc. Garbett just lands in bounds. Looking towards the middle. She decides to shoot up the line right at the toes of Ringland. Ringland up the line as well, looking for Hodson. But the perils of playing in about 2 metres of field width. So I'll to restart. They're just going to check the disc. The trouble with malleable plastic is sometimes if someone steps on it and the boot still can go through it, but
in this case it's cosmetic maybe.
Playing with it. Big backhand shot, looking for Boccia. Boccia's got 2 to contend with. Looking into the sun as well.
It wasn't a bad option to stick that one, but it didn't come off flat enough.
Yep. Put a lot of curve on it, looking to get it out to that far side, but again, the wind can pick those ones up and send it about 20 metres longer than you want. So Hodson to restart, 64 from goal. Jessup sitting out in the lane, forces the sideways pass. Ringland just overcooks that throw a bit. Svardos at full stretch, couldn't get to it. Had to leap over the top there to avoid the collision, but Some tight defence there on the mark from Sublime, forcing that pressured throw. And so Sublime get a shot about on that far sideline, about his Chun resets where it went out of bounds, so that'll be about 15 metres from goal. Double coverage in the end zone. We'll have to get it off that sideline. Finds Bot J. Back to O. He's got eyes for the end zone. Wants to shoot. Vernon gives you an option up the line. Bot J comes in and gets it, and a pick called as I think it was Svardos there, or oh no, Hodson had to pull up just to avoid a collision.
Vernon doing a lot of work around the disc with his big frame.
Playing in very short, very small percentage of the field. Sublime here, happy to work it in short. Swings it out to O. Svardo's got half a finger to that, but Jessup still reels it in. Vernon with the easy throw there too. Just complacency, I think there, Huss.
A little bit, yeah. I think he thought, like you said, an easy throw. He got down, but he didn't throw it from high enough with that wind pushing it down.
Yeah, just thought this is an easy one, don't have to put the work in. Svardos goes for a big swing. Risky shot, and I think it was Ivanovic or... No, Ringland, sorry. Was trying to reel that in, but I think just would have had a foot out of bounds, so... And the quick shot goes up, looking for Jessup, but again the wind just pushed that into the ground at the last minute. It looked like a good throw, good decision.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that one of these teams might want to call a timeout and just practice throwing in both directions here. They're not really getting the edges up enough and making sure of these throws. They're all good options. They're just not executing the throws well enough.
Yeah, Hodson, he's pointed. He wants to send it just to go for territory here, but Sublime got a straight up force, just forcing all the throws to go sideways and hoping that they get a big loopy one like that. Downey puts it up, but Vernon comes down with it. Wants to just throw the goalie immediately, but Chick just yelling at it, saying, no, keep it short, go back to our structure. She's got an option across the field, but not sure she does it. Puts it up, and then great D there by Ringland. Good read on that. Good heads-up defence, seeing the disc come out of the hand and just 2 steps across just to swat it away.
Yeah, really good read.
Nice low break throw to Ivanovic. Ivanovic looking deep to Garbett, but can't get a clean throw out. Across to Hodson. Cuts have dried up, and Hodson just puts the spectacular one to Svardos. Anyway, Svardos, and Svardos! What a crab. Great bit by O there, but Svardos gets it ahead of him.
Hodson's throw there was really, really sweet.
Yep.
It was into the wind, which we've been harping on about, and it was flat. It was a flick, which is often a harder throw into the wind for most people. He really got the outside edge down, snapped it in, and it just sailed beautifully up ahead of his receiver.
And that was pure speculation, Svardos too. Svardos wasn't intentionally cutting deep. Hodson's just gone, here, Matt, go fetch this.
Yeah, sometimes the throws like to just dictate what happens, and that's what happened there.
And no, out of position, had to try and come around Svardos, but couldn't get a hand in there. And that was I think it was about 13, 14 minutes at that point, including the timeout. And there's a crucial score for H.I.V.E. And that's a crucial upwind score.
Yeah.
If they can get the turn and punch this one back, they've got themselves an advantage. It's 4-3 at the moment to H.I.V.E.
Yeah, they could be taking control of this game right now.
Best time to strike back after conceding an upwind is holding the O, because as soon as you get a 2-point deficit in a game where defensive conversions are rare, especially when the game clock's ticking up, we're nearly halfway to time cap. That pull's going to run right past Yong, so she'll have to bring it in on the goal line.
Do you think we're going to make it to the halftime score before time?
I think we will get there. It'll be late though. So halftime occurring at the when one team gets to 8 goals, regardless of when the time is.
There are a few games at Div 2 Mixed Nationals which only had a one-throw second half.
Yeah.
Could be seeing that here.
So the on start of this H.I.V.E running. They're running a zone, but match man one-on-one marking the dump pass just to take away the easy reset. Cotter and Francois to work together. Bowden also getting behind the disc. They're going to have players ahead of the disc. They want to get forward. Francois. McMorrin. Cotter finds Bowden through the middle. Lots of little short give-go movements. Cotter loves that. He's got a shot on, decides not to take it. We'll keep trying to work to develop that field position there. Francois, great backhand swing to Bowden there. Francois looks to be playing the conservative role here, letting Cotter do the attack. And tries to find McMorrin through the middle, and that was Gianna Leone at the far side there. Could have cleaned that up. That throw definitely wasn't to her.
She read it really well and had a good effort on it.
Yeah. Difficult to catch it off your toes. Mortimer to restart. Dawson's heading deep. Does he go the one shot? He does. Puts it up. Young's there with her. And yeah. Bit of a swipe there. Dawson very apologetic, saying sorry for copping you one there. But that was great positioning by Young. Just aware that the disc would probably drop short.
Yeah, she did a good job to stay close to Dawson, who's really fast and works really hard.
Cotter and Francois to work together again with Young as the anchor. Bowden also putting himself behind the disc.
Great effort from Dawson there. Nearly got a hand to that.
I'm not sure if you can see her on camera, but Yulin Yung is absolutely working Lorna Bar over on this wing, cutting back and forth. And it's opening up this space on the near side for the handlers to attack up the field. So great work by her. Go Leone on the wide shot. Hudson thought about having a bid, nearly got caught out of position. Cotter. Francois urging him to play conservative. Bowden, back to Cotter. McMorrin, Mortimer with a huge bid there. He's caught out of position now. Plenty of little give goes. McMorrin. And finds Young there.
Well done,
and Sublime strike back.
Just think while you were checking your sheet, there was another huge bid from Mortimer, and he actually got his hand on the disc earlier in the point. So he's working super hard and really putting the effort in to get those bids. He knew how much that point was going to cost. And Sublime have answered straight back to even that one up on the upwind goal.
Yep. And Yula Nung, as soon as she saw that bid from Mortimer, she took off straight to the end zone, which dragged Lorna Bar out of the play with her, which meant that those three Sublime players could just run those little give-go movements. A nice little just inside pass just to stationary Mason Young for the goal. So 4-all. Ticking up to 44 minutes on the game clock.
Sublime coming out on D with the win behind them.
Zone match, what do you think?
I think that they should go to zone. But I have a feeling that they're matching up. It looks like they're matching up, so...
Yeah, match day is pretty effective, but they'll probably sit one of Kelly or Vernon just off the back of a stack just to discourage any speculative shots. Great pull by O. That's going to land them deep in their own end zone. Spildo into field. It might... No, it's going to drift out. Oof.
It's good for H.I.V.E.
All of a sudden, H.I.V.E goes from having to work it up 80 metres to only working it up 40.
If they can get this into Mortimer's hands, he cannot resist a stick
Yep.
every couple of throws. So
And it looks like they're going to force them to throw this near sideline. All the defenders sitting up behind the cutters to prevent those deep shots. Spelderwin trying to hit Mortimer. Mortimer's got it. He's got one deep shot going, but they all turn and come under towards him now. Tries to scuba over the top and calls the foul.
again, I want H.I.V.E stack to come in closer to give Mortimer more space to stick into, because with that wind, he just won't be able to get it quite as many metres as in a still condition.
Yeah. Williams and Mortimer just discussing the foul there, just on because Williams sort of threw his hands up as Mortimer went to go over the top. So I think regardless of this, he's going to stay with Mortimer, just about whether Williams will contest. Called up uncontested, so the count will start from 0 again. Mortimer to DeHoog, but straight through her hands, and Sublime 10 metres from goal, centre field, throwing downwind. Probably the safest place you could be on offence.
Yeah, great opportunity for Sublime.
They're spreading out in a horizontal stack, all starting from the back of the end zone, and the break throw heads out to Woods.
That was a delicious throw.
That was a very interesting setup in the end zone.
It was.
So they set up a horizontal stack, all starting at the back line, and I think it seemed to be just a case of who's just going to beat their defender in a foot race.
Yeah, who's got the opportunity to go under, and I guess with the defence not used to marking a horizontal setup in the end zone, Woods had an opportunity to cut under and then flare out to the break side, which not every thrower would be able to hit, but with O on the disc, you're going to go for that.
And I think Woods just got Ringland unaware. I think the defence was just overthinking that setup a bit, just sort of going, oh, how do we do this? When, I mean, realistically, all you'd really need to do is just stand between your cutter and the disc, because you know they're not going further than the back of the end zone.
That's true. But I guess if you've been thrown something different, you're always going to, try and assess your position. As a defender, you can sort of, get used to being in a certain position, and definitely a good move from Sublime to mix things up.
Yep.
And they've now got their nose out in front.
So the advantage is going to remain with Sublime if the game doesn't get to half. Even after half, they stayed on defence. So they've very much got the advantage. If the score keeps just continuing as is, all scores go to the left, then eventually Sublime will end up with the win.
Putting them in a good position to make the pre-semis.
So heat is on H.I.V.E now. Hodson goes early, has a second grab, but there's enough time. This King's in the air, enough time to have those second bids at it, but had to be aware of where Cotter was as well. Cotter wants to pump it, goes long, disc turns over in the air. Mortimer shaking his head as soon as he hit that. He thought, geez, I need to get that to the ground, not up in the air.
Such a hard throw from that spot there.
Yep.
Really, really got to get that outside edge down.
Sublime with the very loose match zone. Mortimer with a big hammer. Looking Svardos. Osborne very casual there, and Svardos came in to attack it, but Osborne did just enough. Pumps it long, looking for Francois. Mortimer comes in, bids on it, can't get to it. Francois, nice crossfield backhand to Ung. Ung tries to go short to Potter, but Hodson comes in over the top.
Excellent last second save. Sublime are looking really, really calm and confident, moving up into the wind there.
Yep.
Francois with a well-weighted leading pass.
Mortimer 64 from goal, Downey. That did some interesting things up there. Susan Debman just ended up having to protect her face. Cotter to quickly restart, about 14 from goal. Interesting backhand throw, gets it around into Francois' hands. He's got it 5 from goal, back to Cotter. Nice hammer fake there. Francois to Cotter. Wants to give go. Cotter playing very conservative, only wants to throw a certainty. He's got an open shot now, but heads to the break side. Osborne. H.I.V.E doing very well to contain options here. Connor just only wants to hit that break side, but Mortimer's coverage is preventing that. Osborne taking his time, directs a bit of traffic. Cotto hit the break side now, but straight into the hands of Deadman. I think that was Steph Maher there making that cut, but had to pull up. Had to pull up to receive that disc, and that just allowed Deadman to run straight through. Downey to Hodson. Hodson heads over the top, looking for Deadman, but pressure there from Ung forces her to pull up and go early.
Yeah, just Cotter's around throws are quite interesting. I've not seen anyone throw them quite so consistently. He's almost getting like an inside option coming out.
Yeah.
He goes really far around the mark and almost throws it forward.
Now working hard on the lateral cut. Can't control the disc. Hodson, big sweeping outside throw, looking for Mortimer. Francois there with him. Mortimer. Great use of the body, great use of positioning. Knew Francois was coming in hot, but just held his position and caught the disc out in front.
Yeah, that was an expert catch. He was also watching his feet, but didn't put it off his hand to the disc. And Francois really good not to barrel Mortimer over. He could have totally bit on that, but it would have definitely taken Mortimer out.
Yep, knew he was beaten, so just pulled out.
Yeah.
Mortimer just held that body back just so he was able to catch the disc in front of him. If he, instead of getting right underneath it and going straight up in the air, that would have given Francois a good shot at it, but just holding that position and just staying a step or two back from the disc just so he could take it out in front, nice and safe. But like you said, there was also awareness of being close to the sidelines, so thought just needs to catch it out in front, keep his feet down.
That's a person who's caught a lot of frisbees in his life, demonstrating exactly how it's done.
Yep. That brings back to 5-all, but again, the advantage is with Sublime at the moment, given they're on offense, heading downwind to the left of screen. We're 52 minutes gone, so we're under half an hour of time cap. We might not make it to half.
We might not, but as the teams get a bit more used to the wind, they might start scoring a little bit more quickly.
Especially heading downwind. Check. H.I.V.E, yep, got their zone happening again. Oh. Williams. Jessup. I know something H.I.V.E are doing in their zone I'll talk about after this point. Or we will talk about. Jessup. Big shot heading to the back of the end zone. And that's Woods there. With another goal, yeah, just working it through the middle, yep. So what I've noticed is as soon as the throw goes up, H.I.V.E immediately look behind them down the field and look to just cover what's happening behind them. I'm not so worried about the result of the throw. As you see that shot there from Jessup, just Barr and Sheller both caught out of position there by that deep cut from Woods. As soon as the throw goes up, especially a swing, you'll see all the H.I.V.E players turn and face away from the disc because they figured, well, the disc is going to get caught. We don't have a bid, so let's have a look what else we can cover. And that's why Sublime are struggling to get those discs through the middle.
Yeah, that's smart play by H.I.V.E. That's the whole point of a zone, right? To take the next option out, take the space away, and what's the point in watching the disc if it's just going to fly over your head when you can go and make it harder for the next throw by taking out the receivers. You'll see that Japanese teams tend to do that sort of thing. They're always flicking their heads around, looking at the next option.
Yep.
So yeah, good work from H.I.V.E, but obviously they didn't really get a chance to close down any of those deep players on that set passage of play.
And that's just the Wings trusting everyone of their team to be able to throw those long throws as well. So Woods, as soon as Jessup had that shot, just immediately took off towards the back corner. Spell to wind to Mortimer. Not much action happening at the moment from the H.I.V.E cutters. They all readjust to meet the zone. Finds Vardos through the middle. Back to Mortimer. Mortimer loves these give-go movements, the 1-2 passes. Svardos shoots, looking for Shellard, but Osborne go up Shellard. Stays down. Disc lands in his lap. Osborne had to go there.
He did, and interesting one-handed catch. I would have probably gone with 2 myself, but
the old coach killer, those ones. You see him. If you can catch it with 2 hands, you should catch it with 2 hands. But
didn't feel like it.
Yep.
Yeah, Mortimer with his movement around the disc, he's also a good squash player. So he really gets a lot of chance to practice those short distance sprints.
He's got 14 assists. That's going before this game, and I think we're seeing him get a couple here. So
yep.
Only 2 goals. He's not on the end of many.
But yeah, also would be getting the disc through his hands a lot, which doesn't make these stats. But
yeah, it's usually Debman or Dawson on the receiving end of goals for H.I.V.E. 6-all. Advantage still with Sublime though.
I'd like to see another upwind goal. Like it's not an absolute gale out here, so it's definitely possible. But both offensive teams are definitely finding it easier to score downwind.
Yeah, it's strong enough to make a difference, but not impossible.
Yeah.
No, just taking his time, walking to set up. About 35 from goal. Horizontal stack. H.I.V.E have gone to a match defence now. Kelly sends the bomb up looking for Woods, but Dawson able to cut that off. Quickly starts the offence to spell to wind. Not many cuts happening towards it is, so Mortimer takes it in his own hands. He's got Shellard long, but keeps it in, heads in board to Hodson. Vernon's called the pick, but the outcome is going to be that the turnover will stand because Dodson still had a clear go at the disc. And the pass is incomplete, so.
I'm really feeling for the handlers on the upwind offence with their stack being too far away. Anyway, back on the downwind play.
Poe's got Vernon going deep. Bars underneath it, but it's popped up over her head, and Vernon. Too tall. Too tall.
Bar really did have good position there.
Yeah.
But it was moving. The disc was probably moving too fast for it to make contact.
You see the gust of wind just popped it up just another bit over her head, and she saw that happen and realised, oh no, I'm done.
Yeah, sometimes when the wind is like this, it actually it makes the disc travel over the top of people because of the the air around someone's body. It actually creates a little force field.
Yeah.
So being there too long can go against you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure of the science behind it, but it is something that definitely happens. You could be sitting right underneath it thinking, oh, I've got this, and then all of a sudden, it's like a hit a speed bump.
That's it.
So Sublime, I would have called a timeout now, because typically by now, we've had half-time and have had that break, and players are used to having that physical and mental break. We're coming up on an hour, and there's only been 1 timeout called.
Yeah, I'm feeling like a mental break would be good. Yeah. Especially on these long points.
Yeah, teams have got 3 timeouts to use per game, but a maximum of 2 per half. So as soon as half time hits, both teams, if they haven't used a timeout, will lose one. So yeah, you would have called one at that point and just who knows? Maybe we'll get a midpoint timeout. Yeah, the pool makes halfway, which is pretty good in these conditions. Downey just taking the time to set up the disc. They've got a zone. They've got 4 defenders around the disc here. Yep, and uncontested strip there as Leone accidentally knocked the disc out of Miriam Downey's hands. Swings to Svardos to Mortimer. He's having a look at, I think that's Dedman over there in a far corner. decides to swing, go through Svardos. Downey puts the big shot up, looking for Rachel Joyce, her Terra Thunder Australian under-20 teammate.
Maybe had a flashback to some easier conditions, but that really wasn't a percentage decision.
Yep.
With the height of Osborne lurking metres away.
Yeah. So Sublime will start with the discs, 64 from goal. Kind of having to go for a bit of a journey to go get it. That disc is gone a while away. So we're going to see Cotter and Francois working together. They set up just a vertical stack against the match defence. We'll see a lot of cuts come towards the disc. So H.I.V.E. you'd think would set up well beneath, well underneath their player. So Ringland and Svardos have definitely done that.
Yeah.
I think Sublime are adjusting out to, yep, they've isolated Osborne.
The deep shot is really not looking on right now, so good decision.
And Cotter, too much time to think about that. A solid minute lead up to that throw. Probably decided 20 metres ago, that's what I'm going to do. And overthought it.
Or forgot about it, forgot about the technique. Yep. Too long to think about the lunch break.
Meanwhile, Mortimer has Downey as a swing option. Downey hits Joyce now. Joyce has a crossfield option but goes short to Mortimer, who then goes to Svardos. Not much happening towards him, but Joyce finds space inside. She's got it centre field, about 5 from goal. Looks to get to Downey. Downey not quite in bounds. In goal, sorry. Foot right on the goal line. Puts it over the top to Mortimer. Mortimer reads that beautifully. Wants to throw it over the top one himself, but this hits the backhand swing to Ringland. Ringland fires it through. Finds Rachel Joyce. Joyce was everywhere on that play.
That's it, and Canberra were keeping that disc moving pretty fast. There were a few wild options taken, but they were committed to bringing those down and got the job done.
And especially around the end zone, you want to keep the disc moving because defence will set up based on where you are set up. Defence is always very reactive. You can't sort of be too proactive on defence defending in short territory. So if you're able to quickly move the disc 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 passes, it can catch the defence totally out of position off guard, and that's when you have your nice easy 5-metre options to close it out.
The more you can move the disc, especially laterally, the better. The more confusing it is for the defence.
So we're at 7-all. And so the story here goes that there'll be a half-time break regardless of the outcome. And that'll eat up 5 minutes of the game clock. So that leaves it with about 10 minutes to play over the second half. Sublime, if they score this one to take it 8-7, they'll start the second half on offense, so a chance to take it to 9-7. If H.I.V.E. score this one, they'll start on defense. It'll be up to Sublime to score to 8. So
really important point.
Yeah, an upwind conversion like H.I.V.E. I hate to do the old Bruce McAvaney, gee, this goal's important, isn't it? But it really is. H.I.V.E. can just make life easier for themselves if they convert it now. Otherwise, they'll have to find themselves finding 2 conversions in about 10 minutes of play. They're going to a match defence check with a great around break to O. O's got a couple of cutters sitting in the end zone, sits it out wide for Botjay. Dawson comes across to assist, but Sam Shellard gets a clean hand to it.
Yeah, I'm normally not that bothered about who takes half. We've seen it all. We've seen teams that take half win the game. We've seen teams that take half take the foot off the pedal after half. But in this case, they're fighting against time as well, and this well-needed break for both teams. You're going to be better off if you've won this half for sure.
Yeah, plenty of deep options happening for Mortimer here, but he goes backwards to DeHoog. DeHoog inside to Dawson. Mortimer sends it deep looking for Shellard. Botjay's underneath it. I think Shellard's got position here. Lands in his lap. He's still 20 from goal though. Goes backwards to Mortimer. Mortimer's got bar heading deep, but he's having a good long look at it as he's unmarked. Sends it deep looking for Dawson. Is that going to stay? She's done it!
Oh, what a grab.
What a grab, what a throw.
That was fading back over her head.
That looked like it was going to drift out of bounds, but I think just Mortimer, accounted for the wind, was just going to push it down very quickly. And I think Dawson was reading it well, just thought if I just get myself here. So we said that again. Plenty of angle on it into the wind, and yeah, that looked like that could have carried over into the next suburb, but just faded and dropped down.
Yep, she jumped when she had to, full extension,
Yep.
and safely in.
Yep, so Hive take the halftime break, a very late half break. We'll take a break ourselves for a couple of minutes. We'll be back with a very shortened second half. And welcome back to the second half. It'll be a very brief second half. Simon Talbot here with Claire Hussey covering Sublime versus H.I.V.E in pool play at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Yeah, it's an exciting moment in this game. We've got H.I.V.E up 8-7, having just taken the half. H.I.V.E playing to have the best result in their pool, but Sublime looking to try and make the pre-semis. Really will want to take this game, and they've immediately thrown it to H.I.V.E.
Yeah. Thrown straight into the hands of Ivanovic. To Mortimer. Goes up the line to Svardos. And just like that, first goal of the second half done. I reckon it's been the quickest point all game.
Definitely the quickest point of the game. They'll be chuffed with that.
And so in the context of the game, that puts H.I.V.E up 9-7, the biggest lead in the game so far. Neither team's managed to get out to a 2-goal lead. And as time cap approaches, we're 8 minutes away. What will happen is when the clock ticks over 80 minutes, the current point being played will be completed and the score target will be reduced. We're definitely not going to get to 15 goals. So it'll come down, it'll probably be around 10 or 11. So goals are going to be very more valuable than ever this late in the game.
Hopefully Sublime are up for a bit of a fight at the end of this game, because if they don't win this, then their tournament looks a little bit less exciting.
Doesn't put them out of contention, it just makes them reliant on other results. And you never want to have your team, like, the control out of your own hands.
That's exactly right. You want to take every opportunity to set your team up as early as possible, because you definitely can't trust any other teams out there to have the right results for you.
To do what you need them to do. Shellard with the pull. Gets good distance on that. So Sublime will start 45 from goal. Horizontal stack. O'Connor has been left completely unguarded. They've got to get the disc to her. No one's near her. They finally catch up. Good defense around the disc. Vernon has got a couple of options deep. Holds onto it. Goes back to O. Sublime have found renewed energy here. Lots of cutting options happening constantly. And sure enough, as a result, there is a pick.
Sublime are the bees around the hive at the moment.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud of that one. So Ryan Kelly to start with the disc on the restart. I forgot they did have a straight up force. They've adjusted to force the disc to come to the near sideline. Jessup with the 1-2. Gets within 2 metres and just heads inside to Vernon.
Yeah, Jessup looked like she was thinking about that on her backswing, and there was a player quite close that could have bid on, but she got it out just in time with enough speed to get past. She did a nice up the line to set that up.
Yep.
Vernon turning just with enough time to grab it behind him.
Good non-verbal communication between Jessup and Vernon there. Jessup just was prepared to instantly switch to any throw, and then as soon as Vernon turned in, Jessup was just able to switch to the forehand grip and get that quick release out. So, Sublime have to get a defensive conversion if they are a chance to win. And with 5 minutes on the game clock, it's only going to get harder for them. They need to do it on this one.
Yep, they need to throw everything they've got at H.I.V.E right now.
Yep. They're sticking with the O&D line. I would have stacked the line. I would have pulled perhaps Kyle O and Andy Jessup across.
They've gone with a home force, so a force towards us, which will take away potentially the hammer looks.
Yeah. Mortimer pops it up over the top of Wilkins, and Ong gets the crucial block, running through the two H.I.V.E attackers. Francois wants to pump it early, but just goes across to Bowden. Bowden to Ong. Osborne too high for him, and Mortimer with the catch block as he runs through. Gets one back on it. Sends it deep. Looking for Spelderwin. That's going to sit up Spelderwin. And Spelderwin brings it down ahead of Bowden.
That was a good catch under a lot of pressure. Bowden, I was convinced, had that D.
Yeah, I think it just popped down underneath his hand. As we see the replay here, Mortimer just takes one look upfield, sends the backhand out. Beautiful huck, just kept it nice and flat, nice and powerful. Bowden was closing in and just missed it. But Spelman seemed a bit surprised that he caught that. He could hear Bowden's breath coming down his neck.
Yeah, really, really nice throw from Mortimer.
So Sublime, their defence is good enough to create themselves these opportunities to get that conversion they need, but opportunities are all well and good.
Yeah, a bit more composure on the offense is what's needed. I mean, it's tough in the wind if you don't have if you don't have the skills to make every throw perfect, then you just have to work with what you've got, and sometimes those throws don't quite make it to your receivers. Which is what happened for Sublime there.
Garbutt with the ball. It's going to hang in there a long time. Give them a chance to set up their defence. Jessup, Botche. They've got a zone, but it's a straight up force. They're going to try and corral them into one of the sidelines. Chick and O working together. O and Botche. Played a lot of ultimate together, these two, so. No inside look for Botche. He's going to have to go. Yep, then Chick finds good position. I'm been a great fan of Chick's handling at this point. Goes the big bloody shot over the top to Kelly at the back there. Opens up the field. I was just thinking, Huss, Chick's handling has just been rock solid.
It has
this
been
whole
supreme.
game.
Yeah, it's been lovely, and that was such a visionary throw over the top. A little bit risky with the wind, but she was totally comfortable with it. So
accounted for it well, and just landed right in Kelly's lap. She typically has played the role of just the more conservative handle, just being the anchor, letting Botche, Jessup and O make the attacking cuts, and she sits in just for the easy resets, the 2 or 3 metre throws, and keeps the disc moving.
She's recently been studying in the US, so has been playing a bit over there. Maybe she's developed a bit of confidence and a bit of vision whilst over there, and is now bringing it into this game.
So bringing their defensive line on, with Cotter leading the charge.
Testing the wind out with some tiny strands of grass. He's decided to take the pull from the close sideline and give it all he's got. It's made it about halfway.
Sublime setting up a zone, fairly loose zone. They're just going to allow sideways movement to get until they get to this near sideline. Ivanovic now. It's Mortimer. Mortimer's got to look over the top. He goes wide to Hodson. Hodson hangs onto it, goes short to Ivanovic, who goes with a short one of her own.
Another quick goal.
Yeah, very fast score there. In stark contrast to the first half.
Yeah.
But the Hive just know that they just need to keep this advantage. And by scoring that one before time cap, so as the time ticks over now, our game clock is an indicator only. The game advisors, the official timekeepers, but we've been more or less in sync with them all weekend. So the goal is defined as starting from when the last one is caught. So this point will be played regardless, and then the new target will be determined after this goal is scored. So if Sublime get this one in, as you'd expect them to do, we're looking at game to 12.
Which is a lovely target, and I'm sure Sublime will want to get this one in to keep that target within reach.
So that will put them in a situation where they need to score twice to win. Hive would need to score once. The rules set up that way just so you must score the last goal to win, so you can't just run the clock down.
Just looking on the sideline, Sublime's players that are not on the field at the moment are all in a little bunch together. They've been discussing something, and plays underway.
Jessup. Crossfield to Williams. To Chick. Holds onto it. Wants it over the top shot, but I think Bar's ready for that one. Bar's playing one-on-one match against Kyle O here, so that's why O's dragged himself out of the play. The scuba over the top from Williams into Vernon, but I think Vernon just got too excited. There's going to be all sorts of possibilities once I catch this, but...
Yeah, he even seemed to watch it into his hands, or in and out of his hands.
Hodson to restart. Nice tight vertical stack. They're all a bit far away from the disc for an upwind, so Spilderwind's looking, but I think he's just going to go backwards to Hodson. Gain some ground on that attacking cut. Looking infield to Hodson again. Has to go forward and just puts it straight into the ground. Great defensive pressure from Sublime there. They all sat underneath the player, so between their player and the disc, and just took away any forward option. And good action on the mark as well. Oh, looking what's happening downfield, just swings across to Jessup instead. Jessup just playing it safe. No one behind her at the moment, so this goes to O. O through to Botche. Williams on his own in the middle of the field. Spilderwind drops back to cover him. Yeah, they're sort of adjusting the force as they go. Chick just uncharacteristic mistake there. Puts it behind Jessup. Spilderwind wants to move it quickly. Heads back to Joyce. Joyce looking infield. She's got Bar coming towards her, but just rush that throw a little bit.
Yeah, this close sideline, seen a lot of turnovers. It's a difficult spot to throw from.
Yeah. O just goes short 1-2 to Chick just to reset the stall count. To Williams, nice grab. To Chick, and again they're hurrying these throws through the middle. Spilderwind picks it up to get going. Spilderwind wears the contact and throws it behind Hodson. I think mental fatigue setting in here for both teams here, Huss.
Definitely. They all need to settle.
Oh, to Botche. They'll run some 1-2 movements here. Hodson's sitting back. Why is he sitting back? Oh, Spilderwind. Oh, he fumbles it. And Spilderwind getting a hand to it and enables Vernon to fumble it into the end zone. And by the time he got control, looks down, he's over the goal line.
Yeah, I don't think he had any idea how close he was to being in. And
caught everyone by surprise, including Vernon himself. That was Hodson. He was sitting right back, preventing that 1-2, but there was no one behind him. He needed to come in and stop that, but Spilderwind got a hand to it, but not enough. It's not pretty, but they'll take it.
It was a scrappy point, but Sublime make it 10, which means that the target will be 12.
Yep. So Hive just need to march it downfield with the assistance of the wind to win the game, whereas Sublime would need to go upwind first and then downwind, so 2 in a row. Not impossible.
Sublime will want to get this pull as far as possible because we've seen H.I.V.E scoring very quickly when they're within 10 or 15 metres of the end zone, but definitely not consistently scoring quickly from further away.
Yeah. Svardos is on the sideline for this one. So it's just going to be, I think, Mortimer, Dedlin, Ringland, they're big throwers. Dawson likely be a target. I reckon they'll try and size up Aaron Garbutt as the target of this one. He's set up deep already. Off goes Shellard. Running his own just to try and halt up any big shots going downfield. Mortimer has to go, and that's Young getting the clean D. She's off on her own, but no one, Francois, not picking up the disc. So Sublime to keep the game alive. Osborne to pick up the disc. Looks inboard for Bowder. Bowder coming right around, playing very close. Francois coming out to be a reset. Takes the shot. A couple of Sublime players sitting very, very deep. Osborne in the stack, urging him to move under. Ma to Ung. To Osborne. There's a shot here to Leone. It's going over her head, but drops into the lap of Abby Dawson. To Susan Dedman there.
I was impressed with the concentration on all of those throws until we got to this this terror sideline where this flick is really hard to execute well, especially to a player running in the same third as you. And I guess H.I.V.E are doing a good job of forcing the offense to be trapped on this sideline, and it's forcing the turnover nearly every time.
Yep. So Mortimer to restart. Sublime with his own. Mortimer looking long, and that's Ivanovic there. Playing it safe, keeping it to Garbutt. Garbutt moves across to Dedman. Dedman finds the gap through to Ivanovic. Great gutsy play by Ivanovic to get that ahead with plenty of pressure on her. Mortimer, unmarked, completely unguarded, can throw anything he wants, but puts the blade up over the top to Garbutt. Garbutt looks immediately at the end zone to Shellard, but instead gives it back to Mortimer. Mortimer wants over the top. He's got Shellard lined up in his sights. Tries to hit Dawson. A great layout blocked by Steph Ma.
Excellent read and getting down low. She didn't have a lot of distance to cover with that lay, but she just needed to get down there, and she certainly did get down there.
Just at all costs get the disc on the ground.
Yep.
See again, she wasn't going to be content to kick it or just poke at it. Just get down, get two hands to it.
Yeah, great work.
Get it on the grass.
Now let's see if Sublime can keep their patience, keep the quality of throws up.
Steph Ma is set up 50 metres from the disc here. Francois has another clean shot. He does now, gets the backhand out, and Leone's underneath it, but it dies in the air, and Leone has to go forward to it to her feet, which is very difficult to do. Barr with a huge shot to Shellard, but way overhead.
Game of tennis at the moment.
Yep.
But I did like Francois' look.
Yep.
He didn't have anything going from under, so he ripped one out, and it was to an open player, but it just got cleaned up by the wind a bit.
Yep. Too much angle on the throw, which just makes it more susceptible to interference from the wind. So Francois to restart with the disc, 64 from goal. Nice simple vertical stack from Sublime there. 3 cuts go at once. Leone's on her own, but H.I.V.E have gone into it's not a zone, it's sort of most players peeling off their zone. Osborne with the disc back to Francois. To Young. Young looking back for the restart. A lot of players around her. Hits Francois. Francois, has one goal at it, but misses it. And Garbutt wins position.
Jumped a bit early.
Mortimer to restart quickly. A couple of options available to him, but just plays it safe, holds it up. Saws what's happening, calls a timeout. Right choice, wrong choice?
I think for H.I.V.E it is the right choice. They've been really consistent when they've been on the edge of the end zone, and it again has been a scrappy point. I think that for them, Mortimer's got the disc. He knows what he can throw. The team know what he can throw. They're going to decide, and he's going to have a few options over. What did the store count get to? Maybe 2, or not a bit more.
3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he did have time for a couple of looks. He had Ringland on as a break option. But
yeah, right. But yeah, I think H.I.V.E for them, I think this is a good choice.
Yep, they had it there to use, so Sublime will just I reckon Sublime will sit back. They'll probably opt for match defense, but they'll sit back and see what they set up first, I think, and then I reckon. What do you think Hive will do here?
Well, I think Hive will probably look for an immediate break goal.
Yeah.
It just depends whether Sublime set a poach in there on that inside lane.
I reckon they'll sit three hands that they'll isolate. It looks like they're going to isolate Abby Dawson. So the rest of the cutters will head very much to the far side of the field with just one reset handler out. Just setting up a one-on-one match.
How many defenders are Sublime going to put on Dawson when they see this?
Oh, 8, maybe 9. So they'll try and force. So it's Bowden on the mark. They'll try and force him to the far side of the field. And it looks like they're going to.
Okay, they've gone with 2 defenders on Dawson. Not a bad idea, but I would be putting someone on the around break, really, as well as the inside. Because Mortimer's got both those throws.
He could just even pop this over the top. He only his face marking.
Oh.
And there we go. I think Dawson was trying to set up the cut there to put both defenders back on their heels, but Mortimer took it as the move she's got to make.
So, yeah, you were right to throw your pen when they called the timeout in the end.
Never works, Huss, never.
Except for the couple of times it does. Yeah, yep. Sure.
I mean, if you're thinking it's that messy, just throw the reset, get the 1-2, give them time to set it up organically. So Bowden to start with it is 64 from goal. There's violation called. What are they called here? I'm just finding out where his pivot foot should be. Should be right on the corner. Dawson poaching in that lane there, so he has to get it out to Young, but straight through her hands. For some reason, it's very hard to throw a reset pass to someone coming straight at you, as opposed to throwing downfield.
Yeah, it's more of a pinpoint option.
Yep. Mortimer does have another timeout to use if he wants. Don't think he will. I think he's going to go for the isolation to Dawson. Hits that around break, and Ringland with the grab.
Went for what he wanted in the timeout. The around goal.
And that's it. Hive take the win. Their second win of the tournament, 12-10 over Sublime. So what that will mean for Sublime from here is they're a bit reliant on other results now. They're still in contention, but it's going to be very tough. So best players, we think, for Sublime, I think Kirsten Chick really held them together on offense. While everyone sort of provided a lot of cutting options, she was just there as their rock. And I think Hugh Osborne as well. I think defensively he was able to just take away a lot of options just with his presence.
Yeah, and for Hive, I really liked Dawson. She was in most of the action most of the time, deep and also sticking lots of deep options. And
Really?
Mortimer, of course, and
Svardos. Yeah, Matt Svardos.
Made some excellent plays.
Yeah, made some big plays right when they were needed too. So that wraps up this game now. So next game will be starting quite soon. That'll be F Troop versus Ballarat on Ultimate Frisbee Australia YouTube. Claire Hussey here.
Thanks for listening in and watching. Enjoy the rest of the games.
And Simon Talbot signing out. Thank you for joining us.